All right, welcome to our newest episode of Bevs and Biz. Today we are lucky enough to have Mike Every. Am I saying your last name correctly?
You got it. Just like every day, everybody, everything, everywhere.
He does everything. So we're so grateful to have Mike, and thank you for spending the time. I know we've already spent a couple hours today talking together, so I know we might be hitting on some of the same stuff.
No worries.
But appreciate your time, and would love for you just to introduce yourself to the people listening real quick.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me. Obviously, massive fans of Modo and Hunter in the team. So for what I do, I'm part owner in a company called FilmLaab. We're another production studio in the Salt Lake Valley. And we do a lot of different things similar to Modo, but photo, video, animation, podcasting, and a little bit of website stuff. So we've got a lot of history with Modo. When FilmLaab actually started in actually Jackson's basement, but then moved quickly over to Modo Studios, and we rented out space here for a year.
At least a year, and that was right when we had opened. Too.
Yeah. So been OG friends with these guys, and then obviously when FilmLaab grew bigger, we had to move out, but we've just stayed friends with these homies for the whole entire time. Yeah. Even though we're technically competitors.
We're such bad blood.
Which is so stupid, but it's we talk weekly.
Very frequently.
Legitimately. It's hey, do you know someone for this, or do you know someone for that, or can you help on this? It's been really good.
Yeah, and I'll get into my just gratitude for that resource, because genuinely it can feel like a lonely world when you're a small business and just having the right resources and knowing the right people. So we do talk a lot, and I think for some people that are watching, they're going to know both our brands.
Yeah,
and I bet that honestly will surprise a lot of people.
Yeah,
because we do the same work, and I think we're both really good at what we do in different ways. So it'll be an interesting response to see what we get there. And then tell the people about just what you do in your life.
So at FilmLaab, I don't know how a camera really works. So I handle all of the ops, sales, finance, HR, payroll, anything to do honestly kind of with the running the business portion. I handle most of that, so that the rest of the team can be creative and not have to worry about contracts and paying bills and committing tax fraud. So
that's fair. Yep. That's fair. Well, and Mike and I are in pretty similar roles. I'd say we're the ones handling. Again, the people we work with, Taylor, Mitch, they do a lot of it as well, but we're mainly handling the sales, keeping the business going, generating the revenue. And then, keeping the people happy with their jobs. So to start off the show, we have to continue with tradition. So today we are blessed and graced with Mountain Dew Baja Blast for all those Taco Bell fans. I've never had the bottled version.
Really?
I've had canned. I've had from Taco Bell,
obviously.
Of course. That's the best one.
Yeah.
So
I'm probably going to get Taco Bell after this, dude.
We need to go right after that. So let's...
Did you ever see the Seal commercial?
Yes.
In the Super Bowl?
Was that Baja Blast?
That's Baja Blast, okay. Yeah.
Was it for the bottled version, or was it...
I think it was just
for them in general.
Yeah.
Okay, cheers.
Bottoms so up. Now we're going to rate it, what we think?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, that was crispier than I was.
That was pretty crispy.
On a scale, I typically just go scale of 1 to 10. You can be multi-factored.
I'm going to say that was a solid 8.2.
That's a good rating.
Yeah. It was pretty good.
It's clean. The carbonation ratio was good.
It's got a good aftertaste as well.
Yeah. I'll give it an 8 as well.
Yeah.
I'll be right there with you.
Yeah, I'm going to finish that as soon as that camera goes. So.
This will be our sponsored beverage of choice. This is great. We've had Prime, we've Liquid Death, we've tried a bunch. And I'd say this is one of our higher rated so far.
Pretty good.
Nice.
Dude, Taco Bell, their marketing
sponsored by Taco Bell.
They're so smart.
They are. Okay, well, I appreciate you indulging in the Bevs portion of the show. We'll dive into the biz portion now. I wanted Mike to obviously introduce himself so you guys could get familiar with what FilmLaab does. Again, Modo in a very similar space. And I just wanted to ask Mike a few questions. I'll give some of my background and insight too. But we're going to just talk about, honestly, the ups and downs of small business. It's like I mentioned earlier, there's so many great things about it, but it's also a grind and something that's tough. So I'll just ask a couple questions around just, your things you've liked the most, successes, and the failures and the hard side, so people can get an honest, interpretation of what we do here. So tell me about the hardest thing in your day-to-day job right now, running FilmLaab. What would you say is one of the toughest things? And I know it's like, where do we start?
The hardest thing.
But I just want to, get an honest reaction on, people look at, I'll give a little background while you're thinking. People look at agencies, I think in a couple different ways, but one thing I think a lot of people miss is just the amount of hard work that it goes into making things a reality, like the things that we do.
Yeah.
You have to, you're not in-house. You got to acquire, you got to be constantly getting new clients. You're still taking care of your team. You've got to balance that with your own brand. So I'm sure there's so many things we could go into, but I just want to hear your perspective on maybe what's the most difficult thing in your day to day.
I think probably for me, the most difficult thing is there's a lot of ping pong, like just bouncy ball, like one fire here, one fire there,
nonstop.
And obviously having a small team and in the roles that I play, like I'm my hand's involved in some form or another of everything that we do. Yeah. And so being able to process and juggle one thing to the next can get really hard, which is also one of our strengths. We can move really quick on certain things, but it's for sure a lot from a small business perspective.
Yeah. And how, just to follow up on that, maybe we're just still working on this every day, but how do you balance it? How do you balance priorities? Because there's so many things constantly thrown at you. How do you balance that?
I have an issue with the word balance.
It doesn't exist right now.
Yeah, and the reason why it's like, because I think you try to use this water bottle if it actually works, but like I think a lot of times life, and I learned this from my friend Kelly Cardenas, but like a lot of people think life's about balancing like this, and in reality it can't be. Like you can't balance life. Like I try to, like when I'm at work, I try to be at work. When I'm at home with my wife, I try to be at home with my wife.
Yeah.
When I'm with my kids, I try to be with my kids. When I'm in a meeting with Mitch, try to have that. And so it's like not so much this, but just really trying to be intentional with the time that I have. Another thing that's also helped me is I call it the 2-minute rule.
Okay.
So if something takes less than 2 minutes, I just get it done instantly.
Okay.
I don't try to make a follow-up task list or something, or if someone asks me a question and if it's going to take me less than 2 minutes, I just take care of it instantly. Because then I don't need to follow up with it. I don't need to remember it. I don't need to add it to some form. It's like I just get it done there. And then I also just block my time out. I'm probably working 60 plus hours a week, which is not balanced with having 4 kids and a wife. But I really try to be intentional with the time that I'm given. Yeah.
And you are. If for those that haven't met Mike, you are just a genuine person. I feel like when you're there with somebody, you're there.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. One of the many traits I love and respect from you. And I'm not surprised. Obviously, you try to take the same approach with your family.
Yeah.
As a new recent
Heck
father.
Yeah.
It's like balance. Yeah, balance is, there is no balance. Yeah. It bleeds into, one thing bleeds into the next.
Yeah.
But I totally agree. It's like phones away. I'm with my son. It's the first time I've seen him all day, or maybe in a couple days because we've been out on shoots and he's going to bed early. And it's like, I got to be intentional with my time wherever I am. I really like your input there. Okay, the 2-minute rule. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
I think with small business, there's so many things that consume our time and our brain energy and just our general energy for work. So I love that 2-minute rule.
Yeah.
Just for
Can't remember where I learned that one, but some
Credit
book.
to whoever
Some book I probably read.
Yeah. I think we talked about this earlier when we were chatting today, but it's for lack of better words, we just try to get cool shit done. That's what I think what FilmLaab does so great. I think that's what Modo does so great is we're the people that instead of talking about it, we go get it done.
Yeah.
And the 2-minute rule falls right in there.
Love that.
Just get it done. Okay, let's take the reverse side of that coin, because there's so many great things about what we do. We work with the best people. It's fun. It's fast paced. We do really, really cool stuff and rewarding work. What would you say you enjoy most about whether your role or agency life? Tell me about it.
Getting dubs in Call of Duty, man.
Foosball for us. Call of Duty for you.
We play every day at lunch.
I love
It's
that.
bad. It's bad.
That's
but
good.
It's so much fun.
We're talking about that balance.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And we got a W yesterday. On Verdansk, like on Call of Duty.
I'm a Call of Duty noob. I was a Halo guy.
Hey, that's all right. I was Halo'd as well.
But it's like you got like an online.
So we dropped into Verdansk in one. So that was good. But like honestly, like probably the highlight for me, it's really two parts. I love brainstorming with Mitch.
Yeah.
Like he's
such a creative mind.
He's such a creative, genuine genius.
Yeah.
And transparently, he's the reason why I like him even at FilmLaab.
Yeah.
And so I love brainstorming with him. And then I also love closing a good deal. Like I still get excited for that.
It's satisfying when you
it's like satisfying. It's
yeah.
like, all right, dude, we just locked in another contract. Like, we can make it one more month type of mentality. But that's another enjoyable part.
I think just to follow up on that too, one thing we were chatting about earlier today as well was just our people.
Yeah.
And like how much we value and think about our people all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure Taylor and Mitch would say the same thing. Like that's one of the best things, one of the biggest stresses that's always on our mind as we're thinking about the people that we work with.
Yeah.
So I do think closing that deal, you're thinking a lot about a lot of things.
100%. And when it's closing the deal, it's not even the money. It's like hey, we got a team of 17.
Yeah.
That's 17 rents or 17 mortgages, like, car payments, like we're just not providing for ourselves. We're providing for an entire team. So that's at the end of the day what really I think changes lives and impacts me as a small business owner.
Yeah, amen. You're giving people opportunities both in life, careers, financially, all that good stuff. Okay, I love that. I wanted to give like a 2-minute background on how I got to Modo, because then I would love to hear, because I know you've got a super cool journey on getting to FilmLaab. And I mean, we've seen just from the Modo perspective, we've been in our building, and we've seen the company evolve like 3 or 4 different times and change. And now where it is right now, it's just incredible to watch. But I'll give my quick background, and then I would love to hear yours as well. But a lot of people might not know this. I was originally working in sports and entertainment over the Utah Jazz. I was in sales. I started in an inside sales role. So if you don't know what that is, it's totally the grunt work.
It's a grind.
It's a grind. And I'm super, super grateful that I did that to be able to learn how to pick up the phone. I mean, there were days we weren't doing this, but there was plenty of days where you were making 50 to 60 straight calls to warm or cold leads. And so you'd learn how to talk with people on the phone and make those hard calls. And you get sweaty and anxious every freaking time. I had a small room where there was 10 of us in it. And it's just like, you could hear every word any single person was saying at any time. So like that pressure, totally a privilege though. And it helped me, get to where I am. But I bring that up because how I got to that position was kind of a long, loop of connections and networking myself. And I'll kind of get to this with Mike, because I think this is where you're just a master of this stuff. But when I was a junior and senior in college, people would ask me, like, Hunter, what do you want to do for your career? I'm going to work for the Jazz. And I had absolutely zero connections. I'm going to work for the Jazz. I'm just such a homer. I love them. It was my team. I'm like, that's what I want to do. Yeah. Just kept putting it into the universe. Anytime anybody asked me, I'd say the same thing. Finally, like a cousin, like a distant relative of my wife, he's like, well, actually, I know somebody. I know the father of somebody who works in finance there. So I'm like, okay, let me, can I at least make a call? Because I was studying finance at the time too. And he connects me with this guy. I was living in Logan. I go to Salt Lake, have lunch. Who else can I connect with? He gives me 3 more names. I come back down 3 more times. They connect me with more people. And eventually I do that like 5 or 6 times.
That's cool.
connect with someone in the ticketing world. It doesn't really go anywhere. 6 months later, I'm at a ticket member event. My parents had season tickets. I see one of the guys that I had talked to. I knew he was in a higher up position. I knew he could have some influence there. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's an on-court event. I'm going to go be the first person down there. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to go talk to him.
Yeah.
And then he told me there was some jobs opening up. The interview, got the role.
That's sick.
So I say all of this because, one, I want to hear your journey to FilmLaab.
Yeah. And
then two, for those that don't know Mike, he's just such a genuine good person at networking. That's where I feel like you thrive.
Yeah.
You can tell me more, but and being able to just put yourself out there and make genuine relationships with people. And I think that's doing so much for FilmLaab. But tell us your story on how you got into the role that you did.
Yeah. So real quick, because my background, I worked for McDonald's for 5 years,
Love
then
it.
Costco for 7, and then Paul Mitchell for 7.
Wow.
And so obviously, in a lot of those roles, I've done a lot of like marketing, but mainly has been ops and sales and finance. So the way I got connected to FilmLaab was, so Mitch started FilmLaab, and my wife was Mitch's nanny, like his family's nanny growing up. Yeah. So like my wife has like known the Thanes for ever. Like,
I didn't know this portion of the story.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. So when my wife and I started dating, like I would go over to their house, like while she was like babysitting or whatever.
They're just the little kids.
And well, Mitch, I think was like 16 or 17 at the time, so he's a little bit older. I'm 6 years older than Mitch, and so, but like all the other things, obviously, were smaller and smaller. Yeah. And so my wife and I were dating, like we just hang out, and I just had got to be close with them, just because again, hanging out over there.
Yeah.
And then she's also kind of considered like a sister as well, and so, because of that, me and Mitch had just stayed in contact, and really the Thanes, like we've just stayed in contact over the years. They're kind of like a rock for me, and like as far as like a good way just to live your life.
Yeah.
And so we just have stayed in touch with them our whole marriage, and then when Mitch started, his first company and then making life choices or like dropping out of school, like him and I had always kind of stayed in touch.
Cool.
And then he posted on social saying, "Hey, I need some help with some finance stuff," because he had just started FilmLaab.
Okay.
And I like texted him. I was like, "Hey, dude, like let's chat." And so, long story short, I started because I was living in Idaho at the time. So like
where Idaho Falls?
In Meridian, right by Boise.
Okay.
But like, so I was helping FilmLaab super part-time, remotely with just like a couple things. Cause, I at this time had grown and scaled a couple other companies. And so just helping with a lot of small stuff. And then some big life changes happened in my life. And we moved back down to Utah and started FilmLaab full time.
Crazy.
And while like my house was selling, like, I'd commute from Idaho to Utah for like 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd work full time. And but that's kind of how like I got into FilmLaab, because again, I'm not a camera guy. Like I don't how to edit and all of that, but I know how to run a team, know how to grow a company, and so that's what I do at FilmLaab.
Wow. I didn't realize you were making that commute.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild.
Okay. And so I want I love that. Thanks for like taking the time to share the story. I think those stories honestly are just so like valuable for people to hear, the power of like relationships and just staying in touch with people in a genuine way, because you never know. I know you had no motives, but you were just being genuine. And then, hey, like an opportunity comes along, and that's so cool that it could line up. I want your 30 to 60 second pitch then on, or I just want to hear your thoughts on the power of relationships and staying in touch or networking, because again, I think this is one of your strengths, and where people in the creative field especially can struggle sometimes. They talk to me about that, like, oh, like, how do you sell and be creative? And there's such a balance, and I don't know how to do both. So I want to hear your perspective on the power.
I think at least one thing, the older I get, the more I know life's more about who you know. Mm-hmm. It's sad to say. Like, you can obviously like work hard all day, But unless you know someone that can present an opportunity to you, it's not gonna equate to as much as what it could. Similar to your jazz thing.
Yeah.
Like, you knew a distant relative that trickled down from there. Me knowing Mitch trickled down from there. And so I think one of the main purposes of life is just to help and get to know as many people as possible. And then eventually something happens and changes, and then you still know that person and they can connect you to this person, and goes from there.
Yeah. I love that. I think it's such like, if I look back at even college for me, like, sure, the education was great. But I think back on like just those relationships and networks that I built were ultimately what led to my career trajectory. And now I'm here. Yeah. And who would have thought, who would have known? Yeah. But just those relationships that you have and those opportunities, I totally believe as well that it's who you know. Yeah. And then in many cases, how you can either line up or make their life easier. Yeah. And those when the opportunities arise. So then I wanted to give you a quick shout out. Mike did not ask me to say this, but this is just where it's authentic and genuine, like from you. We've had 2 different little life circumstances where we've either a family member or friend, we've been asking for, donations online. And Mike was one of the first people to be like, dude, how can I help? Yeah. Sent us some money to give to these people without even asking me. You didn't ask like, oh, where is it going? How's it? You just did it. And I think that's just a huge, not that somebody has to send me money to be like, I appreciate them, but I think that's an indicator to like the person you are and like how you value your relationships with people. It just spoke volumes. So
I appreciate that.
I haven't said thank you enough. So thank you again.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I'm a big believer in we all have different seasons of life, and I'm at a season where I try to give back in all the things I can, because there's been times that people have done the same for me. And absolutely. And yeah, I mean, giving up a prayer is always great. Yeah. But obviously, if there's a financial purpose or a service purpose behind it, always in, and that's what life's all about.
Amen. Okay, perfect. I've got a couple more questions before we get into our final hot topics. I would say let's skip down to this one. Since I think FilmLaab is such a known brand in both nationally, but in the Utah creative community, people know and respect FilmLaab. Yeah. You guys do such a great job with your internal marketing and getting your name out there. So I think a lot of people would look to you to answer this question. I think I get it a lot too. It's just like, what piece of advice would you have for somebody either trying to get into the creative field, agency work, or just kind of trying to do similar stuff to what we do? Like, what would you tell someone earlier in their career?
I would say just try to be like Mitch.
Okay. I'm just have a perfectly creative mind.
No, in reality, it's like last year, my goal for myself in FilmLaab was you just got to show up. Yeah, you just got to show up, and it doesn't matter if it's like for a networking event that's you think would be good for you. Like, it's funny thing. I went to this finance network event, and I walked in the room literally wearing something very similar to like what I'm wearing right now. Yeah. Everyone's in a suit and tie, suit coat, business suits. I am 100% like the oddball out. Yeah, I love it. And I got so many like interactions and leads from that, because everyone was like, "Who are you?" Yeah. Like you look like a bum, like showing up to this like finance event or whatever. But again, it's just showing up. And when I show up to events, it's not. I'm not. This is probably bad, but it's like I'm not going to show up with the intent to sell. I'm literally just going to, 1, to support whatever cause that event is doing, or 2, just to meet new people.
That's so powerful.
And I think as far as people like getting into the creative space, again, it goes back to what I was just saying about how it's all about who you know. And the more people you know, the more opportunities that you have to support or do work for someone.
Yeah, I love it. Powerful in showing up, who you know, so powerful.
Yeah.
Like honestly, your most valuable asset is
100%.
like the people that you know and the connections that you genuinely make, because there's a difference between a genuine relationship and connection than just going up to an event to try to sell someone and pitch them right out the gates. I had 2 calls I can think of in the last week where people text me, "Hey Hunter, like I'm trying to get into the field, either one looking for an internship or just connections."
Yeah.
I will talk to them every time somebody reaches out.
I talked to that one.
I think I referred him your way.
Yeah.
And I was like,
was it Devin? That was his name?
Dallin, I think.
Dallin, yeah.
Yep. And so if he's listening, shout out. But he went out of his way. And I think the people that do this, they reach out and they say, "I'm just trying."
Yeah.
I will always give somebody like that a little bit of my time, because I had people do the exact same
100%.
thing for me, even though I don't feel like I'm in a position to be like, "Oh, change their life or get them a crazy job." But hey, maybe I know somebody that can, or maybe I can give them the right contact to get them some good freelance contract work rolling right away.
Yeah.
Shout out to those people that show up, that connect, that network, that do their best to just be there.
Yeah.
To just be there and to put in the work. Definitely a motto is.
Ooh, that's a tongue twister.
Yes, I know that's tough. Right? I had to slow down for a second. Is that we just try to show up and be the ones that do the work.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly the only reason we are successful, is because maybe all these big marketers, they have these big dreams, and no offense, because they've got to do that, but then I think we come in and then we execute, and we can say, "Hey, look how cool this is. We put in the hard work, and here's what you can see."
Yeah.
So I love your advice there. I would definitely echo that. So, okay. I mean, anything else you wanted to chat about? I mean, I know we've talked advice.
Yeah.
We've talked kind of our journeys. How about this? I'll ask you one more question before we get in, and then if you want to throw anything else in, that's great. How about tell me your favorite success story you've had at FilmLaab, maybe how it came about, whether it's a deal or maybe a person on your team that you landed that you're just so stoked. Like, how did we get so lucky to land this person?
Man, there's it's like hard. It's hard to pick like a top.
I know, because you're always grinding too. And
I think like I don't know if I would call this like a success story, but it's like it's a moment that I can look back and I can clearly be like, oh, okay, like Mitch and I in FilmLaab, like we've made it. Like we've done something.
Something clicked.
Something clicked.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget. Mitch and I were at this event, and there is this pretty good sized project. It was like probably like 250K that we were talking to, and this
we're dreaming of those.
Yeah, and this person that the potential project was with was someone I met at an event, which is also kind of funny.
Yeah,
what we're talking about now. But I'm talking to him, and we had some great talks, and sent over stuff. Was feeling good about it, and he called me when I was there, so I'll step out, and Mitch was with me too, so I was like, dude, come with us, because this would be the biggest project we like as from a revenue standpoint, and he's like, guys, hey, just let you know, like we did go different direction, we chose someone else. So we're like, oh man, and
the pain.
But then he was like, but we have this other project, but it's only 75K.
Only.
And I remember I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was pissed. And when we hung up on the call, like Mitch just like started laughing.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, do you understand what you were just mad about? I was like, dude, we just lost a 250K job. But he's like, yeah, but we got a 75K job where like that's still a massive.
And look back 2 years, how you would have been looking at that.
Oh yeah, dude, a 75K job 2 years ago would have been life changing for us, and so that was kind of like a story where it's like, oh, all right, like maybe we're doing something right here, because like it's like, oh, it's only 75K, but and now even a 75K is still a really big job for us. Job. But I had this idea of the 250, and we wanted to do something fun, and so that was always a fun story to think about. It's like, oh, okay, we've I don't know if made it is the right word, but it's like we've built something cool.
And shout out to our business partners, our creative partners, for also helping us celebrate those wins.
Yes.
Since I totally feel you. We're constantly just like, oh, we landed one deal, on to the next.
Exactly.
Like, you totally have to take those moments to celebrate.
Yeah.
And like the fact that you're like, oh, only a 75K job. It's like, we don't come across those like every day.
They're rare.
You're pitching, we're pitching for those.
Yeah.
But I love that. I think that's a great story and great perspective. Like, we're constantly growing and changing our mindsets and expectations for our businesses, right? But it's good to take a step back and remind yourself, like, hey, that's something totally worth celebrating. A great win for you and for the business. I love that. Only a 75K. I'll take that. I'll take Plan B if they send that my way. Well, perfect. Last thing maybe I'll say, if you want to add on to this, great. Either way, it's totally fine. Then we can get into our speed hot topic round. But I think, sometimes people will look at both of our businesses and go like, oh, how, like, so cool. Like, how did they get to that point? Last thing I wanted to hit on was just to echo what you said before. It's just show up and do the hard work. Yeah. If you're looking to get into this industry, or you're wanting to make connections, show up, reach out, connect with people. Like, half the time somebody reaches out to Modo, we'll bring them on for a job and say, hey, come join us. Like, come PA for this job. You want to get some experience, get some exposure to the world. Yeah. Show up, do the work. I think that's what makes a difference if I'm looking to hire someone, either part-time or full-time contract, whatever, onto our staff. It's the people that show up, that work hard, that are there consistently. So I just wanted to give that one final plug because I feel like this has been a great conversation around that. So.
And that's something I think takes a lot of time. Mm-hmm. I mean, Modo's been around, 4 years?
Yeah. Taylor's been doing it, full-time, almost 10. Yeah. But the studio itself, about 4 years here.
Yeah. So, that's 10 years of investment. Mitch is in the same boat. He's been doing it for probably 10, if not more than that. So it's like, it takes a lot of time, especially in this industry, and you're doing a lot of things for free in the beginning. My first 3 months at FilmLaab, I didn't get a paycheck, and I know there were several times Mitch was the same, like they didn't pay themselves either, and so doing a lot of things for trade and just being a PA on set, or just like kind of gaining that experience. Like it's a hard industry, but at the end of the day, and Mitch says this often, but it's like we just outlived others. We've just been stayed consistent.
Because you've shown up.
Yeah.
You're consistent.
And now FilmLab has been around a little more than 3 years, and it's like because of the brand that we've built and the focus that we emphasize, it's a lot of the leads, they just come to us, and the jobs they just come. And so it's really cool, but obviously a lot of people don't. We just outlived them in the fact of, we're just still here.
And I think to add on to that, people see, look at the dope work FilmLab is doing. Yeah. Like, they must have it good because their work is so good. Like, people are just, it's like, no, it didn't just happen overnight. Yeah. You guys were consistent. You worked hard. You've made genuine relationships. You've put your work out there. Yeah. And you've done good work. Yeah. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you've hustled for people. So now people are coming back. New leads are coming in. I think sometimes people just look at it and they, again, think, these guys just have such good work. It just must come so naturally.
Yeah.
No. Show up. Yeah. Do the work. Okay, cool. I really appreciate your time, dude.
Absolutely.
We'll wrap up with our standard, the hot topic round.
Hot topic.
Yeah, we've got a few. If you think of any others, feel free to throw them on this list. I've got a few that are very mellow and some that are a little more spicy.
I like it. I like spicy.
We'll start mellow. We'll get to the spice. Powerade or Gatorade?
Powerade.
Powerade as well. Blue is my favorite.
Me as well.
Nice.
Well, we're the same person, dude. Let's do it.
Okay. Would you rather have 3 ears, and the third ear has to be somewhere on your head or your face, or 2 noses?
2 noses.
2 noses. Okay. I think I'm gonna go with 3 ears. I've already got one plugged nose all the time, so I'll go with 3 ears. The allergies are hitting me this time of the year. If you could choose a superpower, what would it be, and a very quick why?
Superpower would be, probably teleportation would be dope.
Anytime I'm on a long car ride, I'm just like, I wish I could just point A to point B.
Exactly. Like, just think of where I want to go and just be there, or see it on a screen and be there. I can't remember the X-Men's name, but the guy can do the same thing. Yeah. And also, it's like if you wanted to make bad choices, just pop into a bank vault, take a bunch of gold, pop out. No one would ever know.
You can go into the unethical side of the superpower.
It'd be a lot of fun, and then obviously save you a lot of time.
I think I've gone back and forth between the power to stop time, but that could get a little tricky. That could get a little messy.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just go with the standard. I would love to fly. I mean, that would be
dope. Yeah.
Invisible. We debated the other night as a family, invisibility versus flying. And the whole, it's so funny. I brought up I could make a lot of money being invisible real fast. Yeah. You could do some.
I would take flying over visibility.
Yeah, I think flying in the end was my answer.
Would you be invisible though constantly, or is it like a Harry Potter?
I think it's like an invisible cloak type of setup, but you have the power to turn it off, turn it on. Not having to wear a cloak.
Okay.
Too many the books, bro. Like there's some inconsistencies there with that. How can he fit under it? And then the 7th book, they're all older teenagers, and all of a sudden all 3 of them can fit under this invisibility cloak. I've got questions.
Maybe it's like a Doctor Strange cloak where it can go. It can go in and
it's magical,
take forms.
Yeah. Okay. McDonald's or Wendy's?
McDonald's.
How about McDonald's or Taco Bell?
Oh. Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Okay. I'd go.
That's a close one.
That's close.
That's a close one.
I'm unashamedly a big fan of stuff like this. Like I love McDonald's. Talk about consistency and showing up. I've said this in other episodes. Love them, but McDonald's, Taco Bell. I'm going McDonald's, but it's close.
Yeah,
it's close. I'm just thinking about a hot and spicy, and that sounds pretty good.
Dude,
right
hot and spices are solid.
So good, and a blue Powerade.
Solid. That's my choice. Dude, those nuggets from Taco Bell.
I haven't had the new.
They don't have them now. No. It was a limited time, but like the macros were great. And they're doing a lot of things right. But yeah, I mean, you just can't replace a McChicken hot and spicy or like some McNuggets at like 10 o'clock at night, dude.
When you need a late night sour sauce. I know it's so good. McFlurry. I'm a lifetime McFlurry fan.
There you go.
So. Okay, we'll get into a little more semi-serious ones. A better feeling landing a new deal, brand new deal. We'll say same budget.
Yeah.
Versus a repeat customer.
Repeat.
Yep.
Repeat just because again it goes to the connection, and
then you did also. It's kind of validating. Like, okay, we obviously did something.
Yeah, you did something right, and also you have worked with them and understand the brand, so you're not like filling out new vendor forms and you're not 100% sure if they're going to pay you.
Yeah, it's your
it's
processes.
Like you got the processes. You know what you're trying to shoot and try to do, and so 100%.
But it's funny because we're always like, I want new deals and people. But on the end of the day, we'd rather have them coming back.
Yeah, so like I would rather work with 20 clients a year instead of 120.
Oh, amen.
So and so if I could live in a universe of like working with the same brands or businesses, consistently, I would much rather do that.
Yeah. Shout out to if any of our brands are listening.
That's right. Retain.
Please keep hiring us. Okay. 2 more questions. AI helping or hurting the biz? Up to this point,
helping 100%.
Helping. It's a tool.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a tool.
Yeah.
Are we both deep down really, really scared?
Yes. In 5 years, I told you this, but I'll re-say it for the clickbait. But like FilmLaab, we just bought a production van, right?
Yeah.
Not a small expense. I mean,
no.
It's this monstrous.
Sprinter vans are
this Sprinter van's some absolute monster. And then like not only to like build it out, kit it out, I mean, it's going to be ending up close to like a 2-ton truck. Like it's
people in the industry will know that's not cheap.
It's not cheap. Lots of money. And before we bought it, I'm like talking to Mitch. I'm like, hey, we're doing a 5-year loan on this. Do you think we're gonna be here in 5 years? Like
a sick joke.
I believe in us, but at the same time, it's like just with what AI has changed in the last year, there's for sure going to be I think some jobs lost or creativity lost.
Yeah.
Because of AI.
Yeah, agreed. But also on the positive, I agree 100% with everything you're saying. On the positive, storyboards, image, visual, reference images, script help. We're definitely not going to rely on that stuff 100%.
Yeah.
But there's been great tools.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you guys feel the same way.
100%.
Okay, this one's the most recent political chat. Tariffs. Have you seen an effect on your business? We both work with e-commerce brands.
Yeah.
Have you seen an effect? Yes or no?
I would say like us individually is like purchasing things, yes, because we also
like gear.
Well, yeah, like as far as gear and also swag, because we sell like our own stuff.
Yeah,
comes from China because it's way cheaper. So obviously we've seen some changes there. And then I also know I've got some e-commerce friends that are just really going through it right now. Obviously there's a whole purpose and reason behind everything, and I will openly admit I'm not smart enough to understand all of it.
I'm not claiming either.
but I will say I think we are, making some good choices. It's just how long is everyone going to play ball? And so
it'll be an interesting market.
It's going to be a very interesting market.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see these for almost everyone, the tariffs have already kind of fallen off, but obviously the big one, China.
Yeah, it's China.
I see that one ending in 30 to 60 days.
Cross our fingers for it, especially for our e-commerce, any of our e-commerce friends that are listening. We're definitely thinking of you guys. Yeah. We have had one job that is this week that's still going through, almost not, because their bags were coming from China, and he didn't know whether he was going to get them or be able to afford them. And then one job actually did postpone because of tariffs. I mean, we had the pitch out, was like basically like, yeah, it's pretty much a done deal, and then the next day he's like, I don't know if I'm paying 100% or 10% on my next shipment. So in the immediate, all I can speak to is in the immediate. It's an interesting time and hoping for good vibes for our e-com friends.
It's hard too, because it's one of those things where it's like there's no like right answer or wrong answer. Yeah. It's like no matter what's chosen, it's going to affect someone in some way. Totally. So it's for sure a hard thing.
So hopefully people ride the waves. We come out like with better processes for everybody on the other side of this. Yeah. So
if you made it through COVID, you can make it through tariffs.
Here we are again. Yeah. So no, I appreciate your perspective on that. I was honestly just curious. So that's everything. Thank you for your time,
dude. Hunter,
it was a pleasure.
You're an absolute stud. Appreciate you having me on, and lots of respect for you and the Modo crew.
Same to you.
Like, honestly, I wish there was a way we could just merge our companies in some capacity. I just enjoy hanging out with you, man. Yeah. And you guys are freaking killing it.
Thanks.
So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Same to you. Big shout out to FilmLaab. It's so fun having watched you guys grow into what you are now, and undoubtedly continue to.
I know. Now we got to get our counterparts on here. Yeah. They can do a creative creative pod.
They'll say all the exact opposite things. Like, those guys are so stupid.
I need another L mount.
It's all fun. It just sounds it's just dollars in our heads. Yeah. So. Thanks again. Absolutely. Thanks everybody for listening. Honestly, one of my favorite shows. So I really appreciate you joining, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you.